You're angry right now. Maybe you don't realize it. Maybe it's just sitting there quietly in the background. A low hum of irritation about something that happened this morning. Something someone said. Something that didn't go the way it was supposed to. Or maybe you know exactly what you're angry about and you've been thinking about it for 3 days straight. Either way, that feeling, that specific hot tightness in your chest that makes you want to say something you'll probably regret, that is one of the oldest things inside you. And nobody ever asks where it came from. Here's what most people assume about anger. That it's a problem. Something to manage, control, suppress, breathe through, journal about, discuss with a therapist on Tuesday afternoons. Modern life has basically declared war on anger. There are apps for it, breathing techniques, entire philosophical traditions built around not feeling it. And yet, here you are, still angry, because anger is not a glitch. It is not a design flaw. It is not evidence that something went wrong in your development. Anger is one of the oldest, most perfectly engineered survival tools in the entire history of life on Earth. And the story of where it came from is a lot more interesting than anyone ever told you. Go back, way back, further than you're probably imagining. Not to ancient Rome. Not to the cavemen you picture when someone says caveman. Further than that, we're talking 500 million years ago. 500 million years. Before humans. Before mammals, before dinosaurs, back when the most complex life on Earth was fish. And fish got angry. Not in the way you get angry about traffic, but the basic biological machinery, the threat detection system, the sudden surge of energy, the body preparing to fight or flee, that system was already running in vertebrates 500 million years ago. This is important, because it means anger is not a human invention. It is not even a primate invention. It is ancient beyond comprehension. It predates our species by such an enormous margin that calling it a human emotion almost misses the point entirely. What makes human anger different is not the feeling itself. It's what we do with it. Here's what actually happens in your body when you get angry. And this part is genuinely fascinating. It starts in a tiny almond-shaped region deep inside your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala is your brain's threat detection center. It is old, evolutionarily ancient, and it does not think, it reacts. The moment you perceive a threat, someone disrespects you, something blocks your goal, and injustice happens right in front of you, the amygdala fires. Instantly. Before your conscious mind has even registered what happened. It sends a signal. That signal triggers your hypothalamus. Your hypothalamus hits the gas on your sympathetic nervous system. Adrenaline floods your bloodstream. Cortisol follows. Your heart rate jumps. Blood pressure rises. Blood flow gets redirected away from your digestive system and toward your muscles. Your vision narrows. Your pain tolerance actually increases. Your body is now, in a very literal biological sense, preparing for combat. And here's the part that should genuinely impress you. This entire sequence, from threat to full physiological anger response, takes less than 1/5 of a second. Your rational brain, the part that considers consequences and thinks about what you should do, runs significantly slower than that, which is why you sometimes say things before you've had a chance to decide whether saying them was a good idea. The anger got there first. It always does. Now here's where it gets really interesting. And this is the part nobody talks about. For most of human prehistory, anger was not a problem to be managed. It was a status signal. In small bands of early humans, groups of 20 to 50 people living together on the African savanna, social hierarchy was everything. Who ate first? Who got the best shelter? Who had access to mates? Who made decisions that everyone else followed? And one of the primary ways that hierarchy got established and maintained was through displays of anger. Not random rage. Controlled, targeted, socially legible anger. An individual who could display anger convincingly, who could signal credibly that they were willing to fight, that crossing them had real consequences, had a significant survival advantage. They got more resources. They faced fewer challenges to their position. Other members of the group learned to defer to them. Anger was essentially a negotiating tool. A way of saying without words, this matters to me and I will defend it. And this is why anger feels so much more powerful when we feel that something unfair has happened. Because unfairness, someone taking more than their share, someone violating the social contract, was genuinely dangerous in a small prehistoric group. It threatened the stability of the whole system. Your anger at injustice is not just an emotion. It is an ancient enforcement mechanism. Your ancestors used it to keep the group honest. Here's where the story gets complicated, and this is the part that most people find genuinely surprising. Anger is not one thing. Modern neuroscience has identified multiple distinct types of anger that activate different brain systems, serve different functions, and feel meaningfully different if you pay close attention. There's reactive anger, the fast, automatic kind. Someone cuts you off in traffic. Someone says something insulting. The amygdala fires before you have time to think. This is the ancient animal anger, the one you share with fish. Then there's frustration anger, the kind that builds when something blocks you from a goal. You're trying to do something, keeps not working. The pressure builds slowly. This one is more cognitive. It involves your prefrontal cortex processing the gap between where you are and where you want to be. Then there's moral anger, also called righteous indignation. This one is uniquely and specifically human. It fires not when you personally are threatened, but when you witness a violation of what you believe to be right. Someone hurting a stranger, an institution behaving unjustly, a rule being broken that shouldn't be broken. Moral anger requires something that no other animal on Earth has. An abstract concept of how things should be. A mental model of fairness and justice that can be violated even when you personally are not affected. This is the anger that has driven every social movement in human history. Every revolution, every protest, every moment when enough people decided that something was wrong and refused to accept it anymore. It is the most powerful and most distinctly human form of anger in existence. And it runs on the same basic neural machinery as a fish detecting a threat 500 million years ago. So what do you do with all of this? Here's something that research has consistently found and that almost nobody talks about in the anger management conversation. Suppressing anger doesn't work, not in the long run, not reliably. Studies consistently show that people who chronically suppress anger don't experience less of it. They experience it internally at the same rate. They just don't express it. And that suppression has real physiological costs. Higher baseline cortisol, increased cardiovascular risk, immune system effects. The anger doesn't go away. It just goes somewhere you can't see it. What actually works, according to the research, is something much more interesting. It's called reappraisal. The ability to look at the situation that triggered your anger and genuinely reconsider what it means. Not, I shouldn't feel angry. That never works. But what is this anger actually telling me? What does it think is being threatened? Is that threat real? Is this situation actually unfair, or does it just feel that way from where I'm standing? The anger is giving you information. It is a signal from one of the oldest systems in your nervous system that something in your environment doesn't match your model of how things should be. The question is not how to turn the signal off. The question is whether the signal is accurate. So when did humans first get angry? The machinery? 500 million years ago, minimum. Probably longer. The social, status-based anger that shaped human hierarchy? At least 200,000 years ago, from the moment our species appeared. The uniquely human moral anger that can be triggered by witnessing injustice happening to a complete stranger on the other side of the world. That one is harder to date, but it is almost certainly what makes us different from every other angry species on the planet. Every other animal gets angry about things that affect them directly. Threats to their body, their food, their territory, their offspring. Humans get angry about things that happen to people they've never met, about principles, about ideas, about violations of abstract concepts that exist nowhere in the physical world except inside human minds. That is extraordinary. That is genuinely one of the strangest and most remarkable things about our species. And the next time you feel that hot tightness in your chest, whether it's about something small and personal or something large and collective, you're not broken. You're not overreacting. You're running software that is at minimum 500 million years old. The question is just what you're going to do with it. Anger built civilizations. Anger tore them down. Anger enforced justice, and anger created injustice. It is the oldest tool in the human kit, and nobody fully understands it yet. See you in the next one.